we shall not be moved. This is a civil rights song. Goes like this. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the tree that's planted by the water. Oh, we shall not be moved. We're marching to freedom. Yeah, we're marching to freedom. We shall not be moved. We're marching to freedom. We shall not be moved. Just like the tree that's planted by the water. Oh, we shall not be moved. Yeah, we shall not be
To give you a story about Cecil Williams that best illustrates Cecil Williams would be very, very difficult. The transition, however, from the straight suit wearing, glasses with the little hat, black man, into the awesome dashiki wearing, bearded, long-haired sandal activist would best illustrate who Cecil Williams really is.
I saw a vastly different Cecil than he is today. I saw a shy, quiet, black Baptist minister just getting into his ministry.
When I first met Cecil, I never would have expected that he would turn out to be as radical as I now believe him to be, and I mean radical in the positive sense of getting at the root of problems.
If people were wearing naturals, then his was 2 inches longer. If they were wearing bell-bottoms, then his had more flowers and more color. If music was loud, then it was louder at Glide. I mean, he seemed to always be testing the limits, not only of the people around him, but of himself.
As a newcomer to the city, I just sort of ambled in and heard and saw what Cecil always refers to as a celebration. I remember walking out and said that wasn't a celebration, that was kind of a happy riot.
I think it must have been around 1965 that Cecil did something that certainly caught my attention as well as the rest of the community because it was quite controversial. He had the big white cross that was on the walls of Glide Memorial Chapel removed.
I thought, oh my God, this man is taking down the cross. He's going to be struck by lightning or something. And of course it created incredible turmoil in the church.
I suppose the good fathers at the Methodist level must have had lots of difficulty over the first 10 to 15 years of tolerating this man whom they had ordained, this man whom they had trained, and this man whom they had sent to the inner cities of San Francisco to minister to the needs of the inner city.
You are empowered. Get up yourself and do something. Get up yourself. Get up. Get up. Get up yourself. Get up.
Glide was there for people, no matter who they are, no matter where they came from, with no questions asked.
Cecil was willing to open the church doors long before it became popular to do so.
He's not just for black rights, he's for poor rights, he's for gay rights, he's for everything. And it's amazing how this man can be something for everybody.
The fact that there was a gay synagogue that basically got its start there was perhaps incidental that it happened to be Jewish. It was incidental that the members happened to be white. What was not incidental was that there was a group that needed space that was looking for some sort of a spiritual anchor.
Freedom Hall was just filled with tables of people with all sorts of social causes that they were educating people to and plugging. And one table there was a table of the Black Panthers. And they were talking about Huey Newton and Eldridge Cleaver. And I mean, I was just wide-eyed.
And I just thought, what kind of man is this that runs a church where anybody can come and say anything?
He was always there bridging the gap, making us understand that just as he, an African American, was rock solid with us in support of our struggle against Marcos, that there were other issues also that we should open our eyes to and our minds and hearts to.
And I think that their openness and philosophy of inclusion as opposed to exclusion has always embraced all communities, all lifestyles.
There have often and sometimes been strife between the lesbian and gay community and the African American community, and Cecil has always been a bridge and a conciliator and somebody who's worked to iron out differences, to lend leadership, and to legitimize struggles felt by all people.
Cecil's message, if there is a message, is that this place, the church, that church, will be a place of welcome for all.
So what I want to say today is just simply this, that I want us always here at Glide to be open to our brothers and sisters and to be open with ourselves.
I admire the fact that in an era when people are running away from problems of others, Cecil wades right in and is part of them. A lot of people would have by this time decided that this ministry is the worst place in the world to be. It's obviously full of stress. He's living in a community and serving a community that has all of the problems of our society. And he has stayed right in there.
He was one of the early individuals who said, let's get out there and find some solution. Let's not see a whole generation lose itself to a drug situation that needs to be corrected.
And I saw the hungry people being fed and the homeless being taken care of, and I thought, this is what church ought to be.
It's no when, where, how, who. It's where's the need. And Cecil is there.
He's overwhelming in what he gives and what he wants to give and what he does.
Everywhere you look, you see the sound application of that idealism with a very simple activity. Do the right thing. And with Cecil, you always know that's what you're going to get.
He makes the high water mark for the rest of us to aspire to. And as a consequence of that, you find yourself constantly measuring your effort in the community against the standard he set.
Cecil's one of the most powerful men I know in this city. And it's not because he has a lot of money. It's not because he's a political mover and shaker and sort of the sense of political arrogance that one might think of as a politician. He has power because he loves. He has power because he has people who love him.
But you gotta have a right spirit when you go about it. The spirit must be unconditional. Love must be unconditional. Affirmation must be unconditional.
This is a spiritual home and a place of hope for vast numbers of people. It's a new starting place for vast numbers of people. And he doesn't care where they came from. He has some vested interest in where they're going.
I have seen him develop people from the street to become leaders.
Like I said, I'm a survivor of incest. And I've been on the streets practically all my life. I've been a heroin addict since the age of 9, and I'm 32 right now. And I really don't have much of an education, and all I know is how to abuse people, or all I did know was to abuse people.
When I used to sell drugs, I got shot at, and I had my mother's house shot up. I was shooting other people, you know.
What first brought me to Glide was the fact that I had 2 children, I was homeless, and we were hungry.
I just got released out of the penitentiary, and I got dropped off at the bus terminal, and I didn't have nowhere to go in San Francisco. So it was on a Sunday morning, and I was just wondering, and I just happened to come by Glide, and I heard the music, and I just went up into the church.
It was 1971, and I had caused a problem. I was a crack addict and an alcoholic, and I was tired, burnt out. And Cecil came outside, and he says, "Why are you causing all this problem?"
So after going to jail and coming out, it just happened. My next step was Glide.
And at the time, I called myself hustling him for some money. And I mean, you can't do that. You can't do that. I'll give you anything else. What else you need? But Cecil taught me how to volunteer, be responsible, be a woman, and try to get my life together.
I've gone through the recovery program. I've been in the computer program. I was there when the recovery program began on the first day when Cecil says, I want to talk to you about something, Edna. And it was maybe 3 others, and we went to his office, and he wanted to know about drugs. Beginning of a whole program.
When I got into the program for the 3rd time, it was like, you know, Eric, won't you do this? Eric, you could do this. And it wasn't nobody looking behind my back over my shoulder like, well, watch Eric, you know, he's an ex-convict or he's a dope fiend, you know, watch him. You know, it wasn't none of that at Glide. It was a lot of love.
They put a trust in my lap that I will never betray.
He sat down and talked to me like a brother and a father. The father I never knew. The brother I never had.
I had lost everything, and by me losing everything, I gained a life. I gained a new way of life. I have my own business. I have my children back. I have self-respect. I'm not ashamed of being black anymore.
Without Glide, I'll probably be dead or in the penitentiary.
Overall, gave me life. He gave me life.
Integrity. Integrity. The man has integrity.
God didn't set forth and put AIDS in the community to punish a group of folks. God didn't set cancer in the community to punish a group of folks. God didn't make some of us black and some of us white and some of us yellow and some of us brown and some of us red and some of us whatever others are. God made us so that we could be uniquely powerful.